Looking for these better days.
It is Tuesday, March 3rd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. No Jaylen Brown, no problem, as the Celtics win again, spoiling the return of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the college basketball motto with a clean sweep, 2-0 last night. Hashtag never lost. Well, I mean, it lost like a couple of games over the weekend, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about last night. Mackenzie Rivers joins me here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Mac, we start in the NBA where Giannis made his return to the Milwaukee Bucks. Jaylen Brown had a case of back-to-back-itis, and so he missed the game, but the Celtics still get the win and the convincing cover, 108-81. What did you notice in last night's game?
I felt like Giannis, 25 minutes, 19 points, 7 for 18, was kind of uninspired. It was 30-50 in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It felt like, his heart wasn't there, but more than one thing can be true. Like, I do kind of appreciate the soft science of what happened with the Bucks and the sword of Damocles over their head, that they're going to be different. They're going to be a very bad team for the next 5 years, and Giannis is playing out the string. So that's in the air. But also, I just don't think Giannis, before the season, I think 9 NBA analysts out of 10 would tell you, yeah, Giannis is a top 3 player in the NBA, and Wemby is, quickly rising. His offensive game needs work, but defensively, maybe he's a little better than Giannis now. At this point, I think 9 out of 10 analysts would tell you Wemby's better. And defensively, I think I think Giannis is, closer to average than he is to Wemby. He's the same size, he's the same freak, but maybe it's just passion and circumstance, but pretty disappointing. I think he's in the outside looking in for him, and Luka have had bad months in their relative power rating. Maybe outside of top 4 looking in.
Well, 19 points, as you mentioned, in 25 minutes. They say he's going to be limited, like, moving forward. But this was, 7 of 18 shooting. Again, 19 points, 11 rebounds. Hard to kind of get a grasp on how we should play his props, given that we don't know how efficient he'll be in the limited minutes.
But he's clearly putting up shots.
Yeah.
If that goes over 36 minutes, that's like a 30 shot night.
Yep. Yeah, so maybe
it's not like the team's missing anything. That's what especially at home, that's what people are there to see.
Sure.
Soak in Giannis. Throw some dunks in.
Well, what do you think about the Celtics playing without Jaylen Brown? This is now the second time that we've seen it in the past 2 weeks where Brown sits and the team doesn't skip a beat.
Much like for the Thunder, and Mark Daigneault deserves credit for real historic ATS stuff, the Celtics of the past few years, even before Joe Mazzulla, but especially with Joe Mazzulla, are just bigger than the sum of their parts. If you look at who was playing in this game, during the summer, I remember Zach Lowe specifically said, any team with Giannis is going to win 45 games. And this was right after I'd given out Bucks under 44.5.
Yeah.
So I was like, I disagree with that. But he just said it so pointedly. But yeah, there's no there. Derek White has, I guess he's made an all-star game, but he didn't even have a good game.
Yeah.
And, a bunch of guys. And it's just
Exactly.
belief in the system, and they're trying harder than the other team.
Yeah, Hugo Gonzalez and Sam Hauser and Bailey Shireman and Peyton Pritchard had a big night off the bench, hitting 5 3-pointers. But it's what an interesting team this is, and with Jason Tatum just staring at the comeback. Right,
he's playing this Friday, I think.
I know, he's just staring at the comeback. It feels like the Celtics, and you might have missed the boat because the numbers probably it's not as good as it was. But right now, the Celtics to win the championship are plus 900. If you look up on FanDuel, the Celtics to win the Eastern Conference have overtaken the Cavaliers as the favorite now at plus 250. Wow. I don't want to bet against the Celtics now, Mackenzie. I just don't.
I think this exercise in the NBA works probably better than the other sports, but I think it's useful at any time. If you just didn't watch the NBA this season, maybe you missed the playoffs last year during the Knicks series. You had to take a flight. No one saw you for a while, and you just said, all right, you looked at the chart. Thunder won a championship recently, historic power rating, net rating. The Nuggets won a championship a couple years before that. They've been offensively 1, 2, or 3 in the league every single year. And of course the Celtics, since 2021, since they made the finals and lost to the Warriors, they've been either the best team or one of the best teams by any metric, but I don't watch the NBA. I've been in a coma. All right. Now I come back this year, and you're telling me the Celtics have the second best record, and all the guys I know of, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, all their elite guards, they're all there, and they're 9-1 to win the championship when the Thunder are plus 110. I'd be like, I don't get it. They've both won one championship in the last few years. Why do we think the Thunder are going to cruise? Yeah, I mean, plus 250 to win the East is so much less payout than 9-1.
Yeah,
but I do think they if they get a 60% Jason Tatum that evolves into a 90% Jason Tatum by the round 3 of the playoffs, I think they make the finals.
So we don't have confirmation about Jason Tatum's return, but it was Bill Simmons.
They were hinting that he was not going to play a few weeks ago. But
it was Bill Simmons who came out yesterday and said, well, he expects it to be Friday because it's Cooper Flag and the Mavericks. Well, we don't know if Flag's going to play. A nationally televised game, ESPN.
Finals rematch.
Exactly. Finals rematch. And Bill Simmons was saying now this feels like it's going to be
you actually didn't hear
return.
the Sunday night Bill Simpson episode. I'm usually a loyal listener, so I'll have to check that out. But it's funny that I saw a report Jason Tatum to play versus the Mavericks, so that was just speculation by one sports writer. But
yes.
he would know. He would know. I mean, you are starting to hear that drum beat.
Now, why would that be?
Why would they tell the sports guy?
Yeah, exactly. Elsewhere in the NBA last night, Rockets beat the Wizards 123-118. Nuggets got by the Jazz barely, 128-125. How about 45 points from Jamal Murray? We played the Nuggets in the first quarter, Mackenzie. The play was probably the over in the first quarter.
The over, first quarter over, first half over. Ugh.
Yeah. Jazz.
We talked about it yesterday, too. All the trends were over or the Nuggets. I picked one.
And the over was the game flies over the total. First quarter saw 67 points scored in the first quarter. Jokic
59.5 was the total in the first quarter.
Yep, Jokic finishes with 22 points, 12 boards, and 5 assists. As I mentioned, the big night from Jamal Murray with 45 points. Keontae George scored 36 for the Utah Jazz. I don't know if we can ask the question, do we think about the Jazz any differently? I feel like maybe we just should have known that this is what the Jazz are. It's just the overs at home. What a run it's been.
I mean, Keontae George is definitely someone we have to think of differently than we did a few months ago. He could be part of what they're building in Utah. He's definitely emerging, but no, the Jazz are going to get up shots. They made 38% of their threes. They're going to play up and down. Fastest pace in the league. We know all this. I think this is about the Nuggets, and they started 2 centers. They started Valanciunas in this game. They're clearly tinkering, knowing that their 23rd best defense in the league, even worse than that recently, is not good enough. So I think this is another. I mean, they didn't cover. It's another downgrade for the Nuggets. It's 3 games in a row they've really disappointed.
They were up 20-12 the early on in the first quarter, and I'm like, here
we
go,
boys. They were up 33-29, 28 seconds left. Jazz miss a shot. The ball's in the air. I'm like, yep, just get the rebound. That's it. Game's over. But no, offensive rebound, 3-ball, steal, 3-ball. Happens.
It happens. Elsewhere, the Clippers, a 114-101 win over the Warriors last night. Let's take a look at the games for tonight in the association. The Dallas Mavericks take on the Hornets in people were hoping to get another glimpse of Cooper Flag versus Con Kneppel, but still no word on Cooper Flag's availability for this game against the Hornets. They say he's close to returning. What does close to returning mean? He's been close to returning, I guess, but he's still out, Mackenzie.
Let's check the odds. I mean, the fact that he's not going to play in this game in particular, talk about narrative making.
Yeah.
This has got to be over for a Rookie of the Year. if it's not minus 300, it's a play.
So right now up on FanDuel, it's exactly what it was yesterday. Con Kneppel minus 170 and Cooper Flag plus 135.
I think that's a mistake that it's not changing. Cooper Flag, you could have heard the announcement today. There was at least a 20% possibility. Yeah, Cooper Flag is going to be back for this game, or Cooper Flag is going to be back in sometime in the future. We haven't heard any of that. I think any day that goes by and the odds don't change is a mistake because it's building in, like we saw with Jason Tatum.
Yep.
Or Yeah, eventually, or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Eventually, these guys will be announced in. If they're not, that's a negative. No news is bad news.
Yeah.
For Cooper Flag odds.
So the Hornets are minus 12.5 up on FanDuel in this game. These were the tweets from Mark Stein yesterday, which it's kind of like a hilarious back and forth. So his first tweet was, quote, hearing some optimism in Dallas that Cooper Flag is nearing a return from the midfoot sprain that has sidelined him for the past 7 games. And then he followed it up with a quote tweet that said, the Mavericks have officially listed Cooper Flag as doubtful for Tuesday's game in Charlotte against fellow Rookie of the Year top contender Con Kneppel. But then Mark Stein adds, doubtful is at least a step up from Flag's outright out classification for the past 7 games.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a cadence to this. It's going to be doubtful, then maybe doubtful again, and then when he's announced questionable, that's when they're probably going to play him. They're like, he's ahead of schedule. We couldn't keep him off the court. So yeah, that actually is some news. So temper what I just said, but I still think it's Knippel's award to lose.
Yeah, especially when the Hornets win big tonight, and Kneppel has
the
model
points. Loves them. Last 4 games, Hornets outscoring their opponents by 23 points per game. Mavericks -8. 3-point variance doesn't explain that kind of difference. This is just 2 teams moving in the opposite directions.
Elsewhere on the schedule for tonight, up on FanDuel, the Magic, a 15.5-point favorite over the Washington Wizards. A matchup of 2 top contenders in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons at the Cavaliers. Mackenzie up on FanDuel. Detroit, 1.5-point road favorites.
Even though the Pistons recently won in overtime with them, they didn't cover, and I felt like they thought that without James Harden that they should have beaten them by more, and they could have beaten them by more. I think it's a good matchup for them. I don't think they mind playing in Cleveland. I think Detroit wins by 5 here.
Okay.
So I like Detroit.
You like Detroit tonight. Good to know. Knicks 2-point favorites at the Raptors. The Nets visit the Heat. Miami laying 12.5. Grizzlies are at the Timberwolves, where Minnesota's a 14.5-point favorite. Spurs visit the Sixers. San Antonio laying 7.5. Wish Joel Embiid was going to play in this game, because that would have been fun.
Wouldn't it be quite a spectacle? It might be the game of the week or of the month.
Yeah.
But Joel Embiid has missed some big matchups at Denver, during their MVP runs. It's a shame. It's a Kawhi Leonard-esque shame. That said, I think the Sixers stay in this. I think it's close.
Okay, now let's talk about the props here. Do you put Tyrese Maxey in that category of the guys that have to drive the lane to penetrate to score?
He's like them in that he's small and that he gets his buckets inside somewhat, but he has more range. So I think your alternative way to get at it of Tyrese of the player in question that can't get inside and score on Wemby to make over his threes. I think he's perfectly fine getting up 10 threes plus in this game. So let's look at that prop.
Tyrese Maxey over 2.5 3-pointers made up on FanDuel, heavily juiced, -182. But I like it a lot. It seems like
I don't mind. I wish there was a Kalshi style, like, will he make a 35-footer? Like, he's gonna just take an extra step back.
Well, you can. So how about this? So how about this? You can play the alternate markets up on FanDuel. Tyrese Maxey 4+ threes +140.
Okay, so 3 is expected.
Yep.
Then he just makes another one. I like +140.
Let's do that then. Let's do
Tyrese Maxey stay in this game. I think it's got to be through him.
Yeah.
So
4+ threes made +140 for Tyrese Maxey here and the 76ers. And let's see, in his past couple of games, he just made 4 threes against the Celtics. So, do that again. It's pretty simple. Just do that again, please. That will be fun to watch coming up here tonight.
I just realized that this is the coming off a loss after a long win streak. So that trend has been strong. It's been good this year. That does point to the Spurs here laying the points.
Okay, yeah, no, that's another good angle there, Mackenzie. Let's continue to look at the schedule here for the association tonight up on FanDuel. That's where these odds are from. The Oklahoma City Thunder, 10.5-point favorites at the Chicago Bulls. The New Orleans Pelicans at the Lakers, LA laying 8.5, and the Suns are at the Kings with Phoenix a 10.5-point favorite. If Zion plays, do you have any interest in the Pelicans and against the Lakers?
Yeah, Lakers, compared to their overall margin, particularly bad in the first quarter. Pelicans, amazingly good. Best team in the league in the first quarter, ATS, when Zion plays the last couple of months. Yeah, if he's a full go, I like the Pelicans most likely in the first quarter. Money on the Pelicans. Surprised to see that move from 10 to 8 now. So somebody sees something in the Pelicans, writ large.
Or maybe it's just news of Zion playing, right? Like
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's just indication. Yeah. Yeah.
Like maybe that's the move. There's the expectation that Zion.
Yeah, that would be an appropriate move at 2 points. So
Yeah.
maybe he moved from 20% to play to now he's like 80% to play.
I mean, let's see. He said, I expect to be back. That's what Zion said. So nothing, nothing official, but he expects to play. At least that's the quote from him. So that's probably why we saw the move there in the market.
Best game of Zion's career, which was maybe the last game that he was relevant. 40 points in the play-in tournament versus the Lakers. Was the best player on the court when LeBron and Anthony Davis were trying real hard to make the playoffs. Limps off with 2 minutes left, so I think he'll want to. He's got some demons. He wants to exact against this franchise.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger wins. With the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost, here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/believe to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable Boost Builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
Well, Mackenzie, this is March, as John Rothstein would say, and college basketball is heating up. We already had a conference tournament begin yesterday with the Horizon League play-in game, which happened to be one of our college basketball model plays. And this was fun because this was a back and forth between the model and the market, right? And I want to shout out, our members of our, Better Day Insider and Better Day Premium members and members of our chat. I believe it was Chad, one of our members, who we had a nice exchange back and forth in our community chat on this game because the model loved the over in the game between Cleveland State and IU Indianapolis, right? And so we played over 170 and a half, okay? Now this market opened at 172.5. And at the sharpest books, it opened up at 172.5. Seeing it at 170.5 triggered obviously triggered the model. Plus, the model uses the projections, the net ratings, offensive, defensive ratings, all that stuff, points per possession, right? And both these teams are they get a lot of possessions. I believe IU Indy it's like 9th in the country. They used to be 1st in the country, but they were like 9th in possessions per game, right?
Right.
So they're just an over team. So the line all of a sudden yesterday goes from what we played at 170.5 to 170, and then 169.5, and then 168.5. And I'm texting Fez, and I'm like, "Hey Fez, what's going on? Like, did a respected group, and we know there are several groups, right? We know who they are. Did a group give out this play? Because sometimes what happens when you see the market moving all at one time is a group gives out a play. And sometimes these sports books and the sportsbook managers are on the calls, right, or the text lists, and they know when the group gives out the play, and they'll adjust the market. So if a respected group gave out the under 170, well, guess what? The line's going to go down to 169.5, 168.5, whatever it is, right? But we couldn't detect that. Now, Fez did say that there was a play he gave out on the under 172.5, and, he got a lot of closing line value because it was 168.5. But this was a battle between the analytics and the market. Well, the analytics win out, Mackenzie. Cleveland State wins the game 101-93. Now, I'm no mathematician, and I did not go to a fancy Ivy League school like you did. But in my calculations, 194 points is a rocking chair winner of an over of 170.
I think, 190. How many points could they have scored in the last 10 minutes? I mean, you might have had, I'd love to see when that marker comes down on the clock. 8-9 minutes before you already cash in and walk into the window?
It was, I checked. So we were on pace at the end of the first half. There was 81 points scored in the first half. And then in the first 5 minutes or so of the second half, the live line shot up to like 170 something. And then halfway through the second half, the live line was like over 180. And I'm like, all right, like, I don't know, like, I'm done, like, tuning in, like, we're good. Like, this will be a bad beat at this point with the pace these teams are on. But it's interesting, and when I told Fez about the model and we were talking about why the market moved down, this is why the market moved down in my estimation. And this is what Fez was saying that I need to account for in the model. And I don't know if I need to. And this is what I want to have this conversation with you here, Mac, on this pod.
Right.
This was a conference tournament game. This was a play-in game. This was an elimination game. The winner goes to the conference tournament. The loser, their season is over. And what do we see in these conference tournaments all the time is we see the unders or the plays, right? Because the defensive, the pace slows down, defensive intensity in the double elimination spots, right?
Yeah. And nerves, tactics,
exactly,
it all helps
exactly.
the under.
But I think that, and mostly so, I think that a lot of the reasons why the unders come in is because when those conference tournaments are played on neutral sites, I think it's unfamiliar sight lines that have more of an impact than defensive intensity, which I think it all factors in. But I think these sight lines are probably a bigger piece of the equation. Well, that was and some of these small conference tournaments are not played on neutral sites; they're played at the home sites of these teams. Where,
and I think it's the sight lines. I also think it just feels like a game that you have to be more nervous for. That matters more. Like I remember our intramurals games were played at the gym, and then the championship was played at the actual college arena.
Yep.
I never got the privilege, but I got to imagine that was a big affair.
No, that makes sense. But if this is a game that just feels like a regular road game that you've played before, against that team in that small little
it's just
gym,
another game. Exactly.
It's just another game. So yes, do I have to maybe adjust the model a little bit for some of these neutral site games coming up in the conference tournaments? Sure, but I think, the analytics screamed over last night, and I wasn't going to let the market moving against me kind of scare me off of it. I just think the market moved against me because everybody played the idea of, well, this is a conference tournament game. It has to be low scoring. I don't necessarily think that that's the case, especially if
I mean,
it's
all the memes
on a
came out.
neutral site.
People are playing unders in March. It's usually what works.
Yep.
But you got to be selective. First half unders in the first round of the playoff of the tournament.
First round of the tournament. Yep.
Profitable subset there.
Yeah, we'll post that when we get closer to March. Shout out Ryan and Sean from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. They are all over the first half unders, already getting ready to be betting those. Those guys hilarious when it comes to those first half unders. But they win. It's great. Elsewhere last night, the model had a nice win with a team that we played with the model this weekend, and they didn't cover for us because they allowed a backdoor basket, and that was the Texas Rio Grande Valley. When we played them as a 10-point favorite in their previous game, up by 10 before allowing free throws to then hold on and win the game by 8 against East Texas A&M, and we don't get the cover. Well, we almost had the same thing happen last night against Northwestern State, Mackenzie. We laid 9.5 with UT Rio Grande on the model's recommendation. They were up by 10, and they gave up a basket. Or they were up by 11, excuse me. They gave up a basket, and with 35, 40 seconds left, they're only up 9. But the opposing coach and the announcer's like, well, the coach is telling them not to foul. And so you're thinking, if they just dribble this out and have a shot clock violation, we're not going to cover. They're going to win the game by 9, and we're not going to cover the 9.5. Well, Mackenzie, the shot clock went down, and with about less than 10 seconds remaining, right before that shot clock buzzer, a three-pointer nailed by UT Rio Grande, and they win by 12, 74-62 for the cover. So, fantastic.
I mean, in both scenarios, you have about like an 80% chance to win.
Yeah.
So 75-80. So it's like 1.5 wins expected. We got 1 win.
Yeah.
Can't be too unhappy, but it would have been pretty bad to go 0-2 with those.
Yep. They were up by 9 at the half. So I'm thinking like, dude, we're laying 9.5. We're up by 9 at the half. All we need to do is just win the second half by 1. Well, we won the second half by 3, so that's okay. But, the model 2-0 last night, and the official plays that we have given out since we started giving out the model plays this weekend, 5-2 now for the college basketball model. So, and again, one of those losses was that UT Rio Grande loss, 10-point favorite, won the game by 8. So I feel pretty good about it, happy with the results, and we're going to continue to rock and roll here as we move through March. In the top 25 last night, Duke with a 93-64 win over NC State. Told myself I wouldn't bet against Duke, and I didn't do it last night, so I saved myself some money. And then number 6, Iowa State goes to number 2, Arizona, and Arizona blows them out, 73-57. Iowa State now losing back-to-back games as they fall to 24-6 on the season, 5th place in the Big 12, and number 2 Arizona just continues to flex their muscle, and it's starting to separate now, Mackenzie. You have Arizona, Duke, and Michigan, I think, on their own level as the top 3 teams that can win the national championship, and then I'd put in the level behind them like UConn and Florida, and those are your top 5 that have the chance to win the national championship, in my opinion. And yeah, we could stretch that a little bit further, but those seem to be the teams that have separated themselves right now here.
Have we pulled up the classic Ken Palm top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense? Or is it top 20?
Yes.
It's top 20. I think every championship but one.
Yep.
Usually you're in the top 20 in both.
Yes. We're going to go through all of the criteria. Gil Alexander up on VSiN. We will certainly look at Gil's criteria on what makes a national champion, because he did a great job of he's done a great job of doing this every single year, pinpointing those teams with the qualifications. And it's not just the Ken Palm things for Gil. Like, he does the other criteria that he has, like turnover ratio and things like that. So we'll go through the list of the teams that have a chance. And guess what? Yes, those teams that I just mentioned,
the best teams.
They do qualify.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Sure, right.
Here's your schedule in the top 25 tonight in college football, college basketball. We'll start with number 23, Tennessee at South Carolina. Tennessee laying 8.5. Number 16, Alabama's at Georgia. Now, Alabama only a 1.5 point favorite, Mackenzie. This one bears watching, because if Georgia flips to the favorite, we might have a system play. And for those who are wondering, the system play would be the unranked home favorite against the ranked opponent this year, 13-8, both straight up in ATS. But the unders, Mackenzie, 15-6 to the under. So, and Alabama's a high-scoring team, but let's see if Georgia does flip to the favorite here tonight. Elsewhere, number 10, Texas Tech, a 9.5-point favorite over TCU. Number 13, Virginia, laying 14.5 against Wake Forest. Number 17, North Carolina, 3.5-point favorites over Clemson. Number 18, St. John's, 15.5-point favorites over Georgetown. Number 19, Miami of Ohio, looking to remain undefeated and improve to 30-0. They are 8.5-point favorites tonight at home against Toledo. Number 5, Florida, laying 22.5 against Mississippi State. Number 11, Illinois, 18.5-point favorites at home against Oregon. Number 14, Kansas, a 5.5-point road favorite at Arizona State. Number 24, Vanderbilt, laying 6.5 at Ole Miss. And we do have a system play between UCLA, a current 1.5-point home favorite, against number 9, Nebraska. Now, we also ran this query. Remember this? The top 10 team that is an underdog against an unranked opponent. Do you remember this, Mackenzie?
Yeah, I remember that.
And do you remember
that it was always Nebraska?
It's always Nebraska.
They are the worst top 10 team in Vegas market history.
Yeah. Every time there has been this year unranked and your opponent is a top 10 ranked team, it is 1 and 2. You are straight up in ATS this year, and it has been Nebraska every time. All 3 times it has been Nebraska. Nebraska, a dog at Ohio State, unranked. They lost that one. They won that one outright. Nebraska did. Nebraska, a dog at unranked Indiana. They won that one outright. Nebraska, a dog at unranked Iowa. Iowa did get the win there, 57-52. So Nebraska goes for the 4th time this year as a top 10 team on the road as a dog against an unranked opponent. Unbelievable.
Any trend in the total in those games?
It's 1 and 2 to the or 2 and 1 to the under.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's crazy. It's always been, it's all 4 games, or all 3 games, all 4 games in Nebraska this season. We've talked about this. The market just doesn't like Nebraska. I'm going to see what the model has to say on this game. We'll run that query to see what the model thinks about.
Too much high fructose corn syrup in Nebraska. All sluggish over there.
It's corn. Very curious to see. Again, very curious to see what the model thinks about this. But again, it's not just the model giving us a score projection or or using the net ratings and the possession numbers and the advanced metrics to come up with a score. It's also looking at the sharpest books in the market and seeing where their openers were and what movement happens there first before it hits the recreational books. So we'll track that. We'll send out the plays to Better Day Insider and Premium members, as we always do. To learn how to become a Better Day Insider or Premium member, just click on the link on our homepage at betterday.com, where we are also about to introduce some Major League Baseball coverage. Yes, the Major League Baseball page is live right now up on betterday.com. Just a teaser for what is to come. And speaking of teasers, Mackenzie, I'm going to give out a bet right now for the World Baseball Classic. How about that?
It's the best tournament in sports.
Yes.
Mike Trout versus Ohtani was classic. Come on.
That was an incredible at-bat, yes. Now, this bet I'm going to give out is courtesy of our friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook, and it is a parlay that they allow you to do based on the pool winners and the representatives from each pool. Okay.
All
so
right.
here is your Here is your futures parlay for the group stage of the World Baseball Classic. 3 legs. Leg number 1, the United States to win Pool B.
Ooh, I don't know. We might be overpriced. We probably win it. A lot of enthusiasm after the Olympic medal. It feels like we can't lose.
The United States to win Pool B, Mackenzie, is minus 650.
All right.
All right.
Strong start.
Leg number 2 to win Group C or Pool C, Japan. Japan minus 450 to win Pool C. Okay.
Do they have the best baseball players in the world, the country of Japan? It's an argument at this point. Dominican Republicans would have something to say.
Okay. And now, speaking of the Dominican Republic, your third leg of this parlay. Up on FanDuel, we're not going with the Pool D winner. The odds in Pool D are the Dominican Republic at minus 175, Venezuela plus 165, the Netherlands 12-1, Nicaragua 50-1, Israel 50-1. We are going to scroll down up on FanDuel and click to advance from Pool D. Okay?
A little safety, a little insurance on our bet here.
Yes. Or, it's to name the Pool D qualifiers. All right? Now, you have to understand.
So, Dominican Republic goes from minus 175 to what, like minus 300?
Well, no, we're naming 2 teams. So you have to understand that qualifiers may be determined by tie-breaking procedures, okay? But we are betting at minus 220 the Dominican Republic and Venezuela to both qualify from Group D.
It's a 2-team parlay. All right.
So those 3 legs, USA to win Pool B, Japan to win Pool C, and the Dominican Republic and Venezuela naming the Pool D qualifiers, 3 legs plus 105.
How could we possibly not win that bet?
I'm not. There's no such thing as guaranteed money because anything can happen. But like, let me paint this picture for you, okay? Like, how do we lose this? Okay? Like, all right, here's how we're doing, okay?
Is Venezuela distracted by all the newfound freedom that they have in their country?
So
that
here's the
could
thing,
be the one leg.
Now, the top 4 teams from each pool, okay, will qualify for the next round, right? So we have the top 4 teams, or excuse me, top 2 teams from each pool advance to the single elimination quarterfinals. That's what it is. That's right. Excuse me. Top 2 teams from each pool advance to the single elimination quarterfinals. We're betting the USA and Japan to both win their groups. How is Dominican Republic and Venezuela not finishing 1 and 2 when the next highest odds is the Netherlands at 12-1? Like it would
play
take
baseball in the Netherlands. Come on,
it would the Dutch. It would take an incredible upset for us not to win this. Plus 105. Plus 105. That's the 3 leg.
It's 4 total teams. I like those teams.
Yes.
USA, Japan, Venezuela.
The 4 best teams in the tournament. What are we kidding? Yeah.
There's that Key and Peele sketch where he's like has a problem because he slaps ass too much, and he's like, "It's my passion. I'm from the Dominican Republic," and he said, "Sir, this is Major League Baseball. We're all from the Dominican Republic."
Yeah. I think I've seen that one. That's a good one. Yeah. That also reminds me of the scene from Blue Mountain State when Dad Castle is walking through after making a good play during practice, and everybody slaps him on the butt, and then he walks past the quarterback Moran, and he doesn't do anything, and he's like, "Acknowledge my play," and he taps him on the shoulder pad, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, good job," and he goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, good job," and he goes, "Slap my ass, Moran." He's like, "Are you not a part of this team? Are you not a part of this team?" Yeah.
It's called sports.
Yeah, it's called sports, man. It's called sports. All right, one final sport we didn't get to, the NHL. We had a cash yesterday on a day game, a rare matinee on a Monday. The Red Wings beat the Predators 4-2. And you might have been thinking when you looked at the schedule, why are the Red Wings and Predators playing an afternoon game on Monday, March 2nd? Well, it's because the NHL wanted to capitalize on the publicity from the Olympics, right? Because, hey, we know that, like, the NHL doesn't make any money during the Olympics, right? So how do they capitalize on this? Well, they move a game to afternoon Eastern time so that they can broadcast it in prime time in Europe. and market that game as a matchup or whatever. So you had the Predators led by Swedish sensation Filip Forsberg, and the Predators, keep in mind, played 2 games in Sweden earlier this year. So now they're broadcast on national television, primetime in Sweden. And what did we do? We bet the Swedish captain, Filip Forsberg, to go over 3.5 shots on goal. And I said we could play over a half a point because that I expect him to, get an assist or a goal or whatever. And that was at minus 190, though. I didn't want to play that. So we just played the over 3.5 shots on goal. And, he had 6 shots on goal, Mackenzie. And his first shot on goal was a goal. So if you played the anytime goal scorer, if you played the anytime goal scorer or the over points or the over shots on goal, Filip Forsberg came through with, I'm sure, a lot of friends and family watching on TV back at home. So that was our angle for that game, and it did come through. Elsewhere on the schedule last night, Blue Jackets in overtime beat the Rangers 5-4. The Flyers in a shootout over the Maple Leafs 3-2. Stars a 6-1 win over the Canucks. Kraken a 2-1 win over the Hurricanes, and the Avalanche beat the Kings 4-2. So no fired coach boost for the LA Kings. We have a much bigger schedule on the ice tonight. Here's your odds courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook. The Panthers are at the Devils, Florida minus 113. Nashville at Columbus, second of a back-to-back now. Columbus minus 130 at home. Vegas is at Buffalo, where the Sabres minus 140. Vegas has to figure some things out. Mammoth at the Capitals. Washington minus 125. Pittsburgh visits Boston. The Bruins minus 115. Blackhawks are at the Jets. Winnipeg minus 162. Dallas is in Calgary, where the Stars are minus 128 on the second of the back-to-back for them. Senators are at the Oilers and Edmonton minus 134. Lightning at the Wild and Tampa minus 132. Avalanche on the second of a back-to-back in Anaheim against the Ducks. So that's the LA double dip here for Colorado. They are minus 164. And the Canadiens at the Sharks, where Montreal minus 137. Once again, be sure to check out all the new features that we will be rolling out this week as Major League Baseball, the World Baseball Classic gets underway, and Major League Baseball is right around the corner. So head to betterday.com, check out all the cool new features that we will be unveiling. I did some really good research projects yesterday on Major League Baseball, to especially some bullpen work. So that's going to be some interesting things to take note of. And we're going to continue to provide all the great analysis and research that we've been doing in other sports for Major League Baseball, of course. And we are going to announce some new contributors to the website, to the picks as well. So very excited about baseball season here coming shortly. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.